we're at an interesting point now where there's convergence of technologies. In the early stage, you have these emerging technologies that have single point solutions, and they have to be tested in trial. But what we're seeing now, especially in the startup environment, is the kind of consolidation and heading toward platforms, so that we're not just solving one problem, we're creating these systems that will fundamentally change how our industry runs.
Generative AI is present in everything that we do. So people were asking this question: how much do I have to be involved with generative AI? How do I set a strategy? I mean, how much do I have to show up as a leader and actually be active in this? So can I just give it to my IT people? And the reality is, this is not just a technology. It is a transformative force, and it requires leadership, business leadership, to guide the organization on how to use it strategically. Use cases are not a strategy. And so if you can understand and interpret our business strategy in the context of generative AI, that is what's needed in this moment.
You probably are aware that some buildings, depending upon their location and their look, have been licensed for movies or for television shows, maybe like Seinfeld, the Jerry's apartment that we see over and over, or the restaurant. The producers of the TV show, they gain permission for that. And as the internet morphs into a 3D internet with augmented reality glasses where we can see aspects of the internet, what that's going to mean for real estate is they've just become a media company. Those opportunities, like in the case of Seinfeld that was for a TV show, will be for any app that's in the real world. And so Meta, whose business is 98% advertising, they're going to need to put the ads someplace when they move from this kind of experience to this. And logically, for the human brain, the side of a building or the walls of a building, these will be excellent places for the media to exist. And so not only could one ad be on a building, but when I'm looking through Meta and other people look through Facebook at the same time, we see different ads because the internet tracks us differently because of the cookies. Meaning that if we just had Facebook open simultaneously and 100 people look at a building, it could be 100 different ads. And if 1,000 people had 1,000 different apps activated looking at the building, it could be 1,000 different ads in that app. And now if thousands of apps are going at the same time with thousands of people looking at the same plane, you could see that you would have an unlimited amount of media that could be licensed for a property, generating a lot of revenue for the property.
And generative AI, very exciting, huge potential, but it doesn't hurt to have a little caution about certainly the promise versus the reality. And start at a modest level. And identify the problem. I think sometimes what happens with technology, not only in our industry, is we fall in love with the solution, we fall in love with the technology, and forget about what the problem was. And we do this at MIT, partly because we get to, we're in this great academic environment, but it's important to understand what the problem is and then find the technology that's suitable for that problem, rather than getting dazzled by the technology.
The number one concern of leaders in commercial real estate is, can I trust this tool? Can I trust it to give me good answers? Because it hallucinates and makes things up. What happens to our data? How do we stay compliant and abide by all the regulatory changes that may or may not be happening? So this is, again, just a tremendous amount of uncertainty. And at the other side is, how do we actually create value from this? Because are we going to have to pour tons of money before we get any sort of ROI back? And the way I believe is that generative AI is getting to the point where it's like electricity. We don't ask, what is the ROI of electricity or the internet? Instead, we're saying, how do we use this? How do specific applications help us do things like scale due diligence? Due diligence is a huge part of the real estate process. How do we manage our portfolio in real time? How do we create synthetic data so we can run scenarios and do scenario planning for what the future will look like? These are things that are historically very difficult for real estate commercial leaders to basically do at scale and at speed. And generative AI allows you to do a lot of those things much faster with fewer people and to do it much more effectively so you can focus on the strategic issues that are at hand.